The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions, and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
People get ready for the train to come. You don't need no baggage, you just need on board. You need us.
Hello, everybody out there listening to ARM Radio tonight. Thank you for tuning into my show, All Aboard. My name is Donald Whisman. This show is being broadcast live from Boston, Massachusetts. I want to introduce my two co-hosts, Les Skymo and Dave Coots. Go ahead and say hello, you guys.
Hey there, big world. Glad to have you tonight. Give us a call.
Hey, guys. Thanks for listening.
Well, you guys, I just want to let everybody out there to know that me, Les Skymo, and Dave Coots, we're just three regular guys. We love our country, we support our president, and we do cherish the Constitution of the United States. And as of lately, everybody out there knows that the Second Amendment has been under attack ever since that school shooting, and I'm not going to get into that tonight, but what's so hard to understand about the Second Amendment? I'm going to read it real quick, just so I can explain to everybody out there how easy the Second Amendment is to understand. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms. Now here's the part that I don't get why people don't understand. Shall not be infringed. Now, if anybody has any questions on what infringed means, that means to actively break the terms, a law or agreement. I mean, don't mess with the Second Amendment. Just leave it alone. And like always, I want to send my prayers out to all the men and women serving in our armed forces. Remember, if it wasn't for our men and women of our military, the United States has got the greatest military on the planet, and we probably wouldn't have this show tonight. And tonight, we will be taking calls. So I'm asking every patriot out there that's living in this country, or if you're a Democrat and you don't like us, you can call in too. Get your pens ready, your pencils, and I'll give you the number. Call in tonight. The number is 1-800-508-5431. That is toll free. It won't cost you a dime. Call in and you will be heard around the world live. I think we go live in like 66 countries, but call us tonight, you guys. I mean, we're nice people. We'll talk to you. And I want to remind everybody out there that I do have a Facebook group called Trump 2020 ! If you support our president, feel free to join. But don't forget the exclamation point. That's Trump 2020 ! And what I'm about to read you guys is something that was written back in the 1800s. You guys, this guy nailed it, even back in the 1800s. And here's what he said. His name was Lysander Spooner. I don't know who he is, but somebody sent this to me. And he wrote, now I'm telling you guys, I mean, this is dead on, back in 18-something, but says, to ban guns because criminals use them is to tell the law-abiding that their rights and liberties depend not on their own conduct, but on the conduct of the guilty and the lawless. Now think about that. In the 1800s, that guy knew what they were going to try to do, I think, in the future. And now you guys, here's where we're going to start the show. You guys ready to start this show? You ready? All right, you guys, all week, I ain't heard nothing but gun control, AR-15s, banning guns, banning bump stocks, this, that. I mean, you guys, these liberals, they pretend like they care so much about human life. I mean, they have been attacking the AR-15, worrying about everybody dying. But I want to ask you guys tonight, what about all the deaths? All these abortions that everybody's committed since Roe v. Wade? There's been over 54 million babies that have been killed since Roe v. Wade. And that was back in 2012. 54 million people. Babies, not people, just babies. Innocent babies. And Dave, Les, I don't care who goes on this first, but I'm going to tell you. And not only abortions, but I want to talk about these partial birth abortions. I've seen pictures of these things. Dave told me to look it up, partial birth abortions. And I'll tell you guys, it was enough to make me start crying. I'll tell you right now, it's sad. And I don't care less, Dave. I don't care who takes it first. Go ahead.
I tell you, Donald, that's something it's sad. It's very sad. I call the abortion in America America's Holocaust. 2015, 2016, there's been 328,348 babies killed by abortion. I call it murder. Now that's from the CDC, Center of Disease Control. Now I want to start like this, Donald. These people prey on young women, on young girls. Most of your abortions are girls 25 and younger. And I just want to tell you women out there, if there's any of you out there listening that's had an abortion, God will forgive you for that. And instead of living in the guilt and the shame of doing that, reach out and help some other women. Reach out to some young girls and try to prevent them from making the same mistake. You're in a position. I know that some of you are so sorry for doing what you've done, but take that and turn that into something positive and reach out to some young girls that's on the verge of making that decision. It's a heinous, murderous decision, but we serve a merciful God, and He'll forgive you for that. But like I say, Donald, that's America's Holocaust, and I wish we could just stop it altogether. It breaks my heart.
I think it's horrible what's happening in our country. A lot of people in this country, they don't value human life. They'll use a tragedy to push an agenda, and then turn a blind eye to something else. A lot of people don't realize this, but abortion, I think, it affects the lower income people more than it does anybody else in this country. And I mean, honestly, it's horrible. But what are we going to do about it? It's something that the Supreme Court, since Roe v. Wade has ruled is legal, and
since 1973, David, it's been legal. But I mean, it started out. I don't know really. I was just a little kid when it very first got approved through the Supreme Court, Dave. But like you was saying, they've got now where they've got into these partial birth abortions, and Dave, that's just horrible. I mean, these babies are alive, Dave. They're alive.
Yeah, and I mean, it's, to me, if you have to do a partial birth, unless it's something medically necessary to protect the mother, or that's murder. If you have to partially birth your baby, the doctor does it to abort it. That should be murder.
Yeah, I consider it murder, unless and like you was saying, Les, I mean, for all the women out there, I can understand when people are young, they make mistakes, but what I'm really hounding on is what I'm really trying to say is, it shouldn't be an option anyway. And like Dave says, how do we get rid of it? Let's try to reverse Roe v. Wade. I don't know, there should be a way we could reverse that in this country. Let's get rid of it. And I'm not really talking about the girls who just made a mistake and made the wrong decision, but there's people out there, you guys, they use this abortion as like birth control. My gosh, there's so many ways, Les, Dave, you can go I'll tell you what, my daughter, I'm not lying to you guys, tomorrow morning she's got to get up. She's done had 2 babies. She's going tomorrow morning and she's getting her tubes tied, clipped, and burnt. I mean, do something like that.
And Donald, I think what a lot of people don't realize too is Planned Parenthood is set up and to basically help a lot of low income people. And when these young girls go into Planned Parenthood and they find out they're pregnant, one of the first things that they push is abortion. instead of pushing the structure of a good family unit, one of the very first things they hear is abortion.
Right. Well, Dave, they in the year 2015, 2016, out of that over 300,000 abortions, they only handed out 2,800 adoption referrals. Man, I tell you, their agenda is not to have these babies adopted. It's to kill them and sell their body parts. They've been busted selling parts to these babies, and look at what that's doing to our young generation. That's one of the main key factors that's desensitizing our young people today. That's devaluing life, and it's desensitizing our kids to the value of human life. It goes way deeper than just killing a baby, brother, murdering a baby. It's desensitizing our children and of the value of life.
Dave, you wanna respond to what Les is saying there, brother?
Oh, well, I think he's absolutely right, and they wonder why we have all these school shootings per se, and it's simply because we've made human life worth so much less in today's society. Because you do have women that are using it for birth control. I personally know some people that have had 4 or 5 abortions.
Terrible.
It's to me, that's ridiculous. There's plenty ways, to be more careful than that.
I mean, Dave, Les, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Les, but I can see a young girl making a mistake. I can see that. I understand that. People make mistakes all the time. But just like you said and I said earlier, if you use it for birth control, that's totally just out of the realm of what I think it was even meant for to begin with, you guys. I really do. I think we need to get rid of it totally. We shouldn't have it. The girl shouldn't even have that option to kill a baby. It should be adopted out, or there should be other methods. Come on, you guys. I mean, it's simple. This is life.
Yeah, you're right, Donald. And like I say, God help those poor little innocent girls that was more or less talked into this in so many cases. And you're right, Donald, so many people use this for birth control. But I tell you what, abortion is the #1 killer of the black race.
I believe that.
Anywhere you want. And then it's Hispanics.
Ain't that what Dave was talking about?
It's all the lower income. It affects the lower income more than it does anybody else. What kills me though is when you have these Democrats that they're all for that, they're all for women's rights, okay, which is great. I think that's fantastic.
Sure.
But then when you have a tragedy, like a school shooting, they want to come after our rights. They want to come after our Second Amendment.
Oh, we're going to talk about that, Dave. We're going to talk about that.
The Second Amendment was something guaranteed to us by our founding fathers in the Constitution. An abortion wasn't.
You're right. That was a decision made by the judges back in 1973. And like I said, you guys, there has to be a way to repeal that law. There has to be. Now, I don't know how much a president, what kind of say-so like President Trump would have in something like that. But if he gets enough of those judges in there that are against abortion, is there a way that they could repeal that law? Is it possible, you guys?
Donald, I tell you what. You want me to tell you what's working against these? But don't be offended, anybody. But these murderers out there that want to kill these babies, what's working against them, and what's going to turn Roe v. Wade over? It's going to be #1 prayer. #2, it's going to be science. Science is going to prove what all of us, the Christians, believe, that's a life at conception.
Yeah, but I still believe that people do make mistakes. I mean, you're right, it is, but I do believe that young women do make mistakes, and yeah, they should be forgiven. I mean, come on, one time, and if it gets on, if it bothers you, you've made a mistake, let's move on. But I want to get rid of it, you guys. And like we got, what's the new court guy, the new Supreme Court Justice, Neil Gorsuch? If Donald Trump could just get a few more justices in there, why couldn't we overturn that? Why can't we get rid of it?
And we possibly could if the power of the court shifted to conservative, that's something that could happen. But what you're going to have to remember is they would the Democrats are going to do everything they can to keep those justices in place, hoping that Trump's not reelected in 2020, even if it means propping Ruth Bader Ginsburg up in a corner somewhere with an IV stuck in her arm, trying to keep her alive.
I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to try to keep her going until she's 100, brother. But let's I'm going to change the topic tonight. I mean, a lot of people don't talk about abortion. I didn't want to bring it up to start with, but you guys, I just been reading this, and like you said, Dave, to look up this partial birth abortion, and it did. It made me cry when I seen some of these images, and it's just so sad. And I don't think if they would show these girls that, I'm not talking about the ones that get them and when they first get pregnant, but these ones that are so far along where the babies live, if they could just see them little babies, them pictures, they need to be hanging up in these abortion clinics. And I think a lot of them would change their mind, you guys, but that's not going to happen as long as the Democrats or any Democrats got any kind of power in any state. That's not going to happen. But I'll change the subject. You guys know that the NRA, they support our president. They really do. I mean, they really supported him back in the 2016 elections, and I support him too, you guys. I support him 100%. But here since that school shooting, which I'm not going to talk about the school shooting, but to me, he is giving in a little bit when it comes to our Second Amendment. Trump said the nation should keep assault rifles out of the hands of anyone under the age of 21. Now, Les, I know you always go first, buddy, and I love you, but I want this topic, I want Dave to respond first, because this is something that me and Dave have been talking about last night, and it really bothers Dave about this age limit thing. No. Go ahead, Dave.
I think it's a huge mistake by the president to raise the age to buy a rifle. The age to buy a handgun is already 21 years old. You can buy a rifle and a shotgun at 18 years old. Now, if we can train an 18-year-old kid to go to war, train them to be a killing machine, aka killing machine, to be a warrior, and expect them to go to a foreign land and put their life on the line for their country. Say they do that, and they do 1 or 2 tours, come back home. They start a life somewhere. They're still in the service. They've served their country. They're starting a family. They're 19, 20 years old. And you're trying to tell me that well-trained individual can't go somewhere and purchase a rifle to defend themselves?
A semi-automatic rifle, too, Dave, at that.
It's ridiculous. And, I think we agree with President Trump on 90% of the stuff, but this is one of the things, you don't need to raise the age limit. You don't need to ban anything. He's talking about telling Sessions to ban bump stocks that turn them into machine guns. What somebody needs to explain to him is a simple bump stock doesn't turn an AR-15 into a machine gun. It simply increases the rate of fire. That's it.
Dave, I can do the same thing with my belt loop that a bump stock will do for a AR-15. But here's the thing, and I agree with every word you said, Dave. I agree with that. But now, here's where I'm coming from. If you're going to raise the age to 21, okay, to buy a gun or a rifle or pistol, whatever, okay, then don't draft these kids until they're 21. Okay, don't draft them, because if they can go and die for our country at 18, they should be able to exercise any other constitutional right that anybody else has.
I agree with that. I mean, what do you think, Dave? But what I think, Dave, they're putting fully automatic machine guns in these kids' hand at 18. Fully automatic. I mean, when they come home, they can't buy a semi-automatic. That's what bothers me. And what Trump says, and we're right, and Dave was right earlier. We just can't be yes men all the time. If Trump says something that we disagree with, and we disagree with it, we're going to have to call him out. Even though we support this man, if somebody does something wrong, I've got to voice my opinion. And he did come up with something good. He did say something good about teachers carrying guns in schools. That's something they ought to start working on. Let's not worry about the age limit of a gun. Let's not do that, you guys. Let's just leave that alone, man.
Well, Donald, let me tell you something. And Dave, he'll tell you the same thing. Before I was 21 years old, I was shooting M60 fully automatic machine guns. I was chunking 35-pound 105 howitzer rounds. I was shooting an M16 fully automatic. I was shooting mortars. I had mortar training at 20 years old or younger. So, I mean, if I can do all that without killing myself and my buddies and do it in a safe manner, okay, then where's the argument at? What really ticks me off is every time something like this happens, okay, people don't want to blame the one that done it. They want to blame the tool they used to do it. There is absolutely not a lick of freaking common sense in this argument. Where is logic? Where's common sense at? This pisses me off. Makes me mad.
There's no common sense to it whatsoever. They play on the emotions at the time of the people to try to push their agenda. It's like Les said. At 18 years old, we had automatic rifles in our hand. We were shooting javelins, throwing grenades. You've got an 18-year-old that when he goes to basic training has to throw 2 live grenades before he can move on. So you're telling me that an 18-year-old can throw a live grenade, but when he comes home he can't have a semi-automatic rifle? And it's just like the news media pushing assault rifle. An AR-15 is not an assault rifle, people. It is a semi-automatic rifle that just has more furniture on it. You can customize that rifle more than any other rifle, but it doesn't make it an assault rifle.
Well, a lot of people believe that the 2 letters, Dave, AR stands for assault rifle. And Dave or Les, please tell everybody out there what the AR stands for, please.
Armalite,
the 15th version.
15th version, that's right.
Thank you. It does not stand for an assault rifle. Whatever liberal may be listening out there, please understand this.
Hey, Donald, assault rifles like jumbo
we're getting a call.
shrimp.
We're getting a call. We're getting a call, brother. I'm going to take the call, guys.
Yes.
Hey, you guys know I got to push 1. So let's give it a second here. I guess they hung up, so I don't know what happened. Hope we don't get a lot of those tonight like we did last time. Remember last time 2 people called? Well, anyway, you guys, I don't know. We shouldn't be messing with the Second Amendment, period. Like I said, Trump did say something about teachers carrying guns. I do agree with him on that. Yeah, teachers need to be carrying guns, and we've got a sheriff over here in Butler County, right here in Ohio, that's going to be giving free CCW classes to teachers. We got Dave Coots right on here tonight, Les. He's giving a class, a free CCW class to teachers, aren't you, Dave?
Yeah, absolutely. And the a lot of people are thinking that teachers don't want to do this. I can tell you firsthand, when I put that out, that we would be giving free CCW classes to teachers, the response was overwhelming.
Yes.
I appreciate you doing that, Dave. I'll tell you what, that's stepping up right there. That's stepping up and becoming involved. And, that's the first line of defense, brother. They're already talking about some of these teachers or people.
Got another call, Les.
Okay,
keep talking. I'll keep talking. Just keep talking, Les, until they answer it.
We'll get him on the phone there. But they're already talking about.
Oh, they're listening to the radio. Hello. You're gonna have to turn your radio down so you're not reverbing.
Hold on a minute.
Okay, turn it down, brother. He's going to turn it down, you guys, because he's got his device. Okay.
Yeah, this is Chris. Out of.
Is this Chris from Louisiana?
Yes, it is.
Well, hey, Chris, somebody else is calling in right now. Can you call? Well, go ahead, Chris. What do you want to say, brother?
I'm with y'all.
This phone's up
the age.
Sorry about that, Chris. My phone's ringing in as you're talking. I've got two-way calling, so.
I'll call. Well, go ahead and take that call and I'll just call back.
Well, it's already stopped calling now, so go ahead. What do you want to say?
I'm with y'all on that age limit. I don't think they should change it. I think they should just leave it alone.
I agree. That's what we're saying, Chris. Yeah, leave that alone. We don't need it, buddy. And Chris, thank you for calling in. Is there anything else you want to tell the world tonight?
Y'all doing a good job. Y'all keep it up.
Thank you, Chris. We appreciate it, buddy.
Thanks, Chris.
Les and Dave said thank you. I know you can't hear them. That's something that we're working on, Chris. We're gonna get it to where the caller can actually hear the co-host. That way they can talk to you as well instead of just me. But we're working on it. Okay, brother.
All right. Y'all take y'all's time.
All right.
You're doing good.
Listen to this show, brother. We got a lot of good stuff we're gonna talk about tonight. All right. Bye, Chris.
All right, man.
That caller was call back. We want to talk to you, please.
Yeah. Whoever called earlier, you can call back. We're gonna be taking. It's 8:30 now. We still got a half hour left, you guys. So if you want to call in and say something, you're more than welcome to. But anyway, you guys, our president, he's doing it again, you guys. I hate to tell you, but he's up to it again. He's saving the taxpayers' money, you guys. I guess he reached an informal deal with Boeing to build these two new Air Force One planes. He's going to be saving the taxpayers $1.4 billion. Now, you guys, listen to this. If Obama would have still been president, I guarantee you he would have paid whatever Boeing wanted to charge him. What do you guys think about that?
You're right, Donald. And see, they've been getting away with this, these defense contractors and Boeing and some of the others. They've been getting away with just stealing the government blind, man, and there has been no accountability in government spending until President Trump come along. And you know, that's like $400 hammers, $200 or $300 toilet seats. Goes on and on and on.
Not no more, brother. Not with Trump in there, baby.
I hope you're right, because there's plenty of money, Donald, if somebody would just put the kibosh on this waste.
But, you know, I think the biggest thing is Trump's going to try his best to curtail that. But when you're as big as our federal government is, you're going to have wasteful spending somewhere. You know, it can't be avoided. He's going to crack down on it, and he's doing an amazing job of it. You know, but Trump's a negotiator. I mean, let's face it. This deal with Boeing started in last year. When he was elected president, they started this negotiation with Boeing, and then it ended up with the CEO and Trump sitting down and working this deal out.
Do you guys think that Obama would have just went ahead and paid for whatever Boeing would have charged? Do you think that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Dave, what are you talking about? Are you meaning like Trump can't find? He don't know everywhere the government's spending money. Is that what you're saying? He just don't know everything that's going on right now. Is that what you're saying?
Well, what I mean is it doesn't matter. The government is so big. Okay, it doesn't matter what you do. There's somewhere in some way, in some form of fashion, there's going to be some kind of wasteful spending. You're not going to be able You're not going to be able to completely eliminate it. But I think he's doing an excellent job of trying to curtail it and trying to make everybody accountable for the money. And that's the biggest thing. And that's the difference between Trump and Obama. Obama was a community organizer. Trump is a negotiator and a businessman. That's the difference.
Dave. Well, anytime you got a Democrat in there, they tax and spend. It's just their nature. But I would like to see some audits. And audit our Federal Reserve. But I'd like to see an audit on every department of our federal government. And you're right, you're not going to cut it all out.
We got another call, Les. I'm sorry, we got to keep talking.
Go ahead, take it, brother.
We'll take it. Hello? Hello, could you give us your first name and what state you're calling from, please?
Melissa from Ohio.
Hey, Melissa from Ohio. What's on your mind tonight?
Oh, let's see. I wanted to say that I also agree that the gun laws need to be left alone, and I'm disappointed that it seems like our wonderful president is caving under some pressure. But I don't like the comparison that's being made to abortion. Because
on our
when
end,
you talk
Melissa,
about...
Are you talking about on our end, our comparison, or like the liberal end?
Yes.
Okay.
No, on the conservative end. Because the same argument could be made that says that conservatives are pro-death penalty. Right?
Yes.
So, so when we start talking about hypocrisy, we need to be careful where we're walking.
Melissa, do you mind if I ask you if you're a Democrat or a Republican? Do you mind me asking you that? I don't know your last name. Nobody knows where you're at or anything.
Look,
I mean, we're going to treat you nice regardless. I mean, we're all very respectful people on this show.
Yeah, I know. I'm a huge Trump supporter, but I never felt like I was a Republican.
Did you vote Democrat in the past?
No. Oh, when I was like 18 and 20, sure.
Okay. Yeah. So you just disagree with what we're saying about... You just kind of disagree with what we're talking about abortion then, right?
I do, because if we're talking about that life is precious, well then, I kind of get upset about all of the innocent people that, on death row in prisons.
Well, Melissa, what about the crimes that they committed, though? I mean, if they're found guilty by their peers... I mean, Melissa, I'll tell you, I was going to get into prisons here in a minute. I had that on my topic list tonight. I think, Melissa, now you're probably going to get mad at me, but I think we're too lenient on these death row inmates. The ones, just think about the heinous crimes they commit. Then when we put them to sleep, to me, Melissa, and you're going to get mad probably, I think we're too lenient on them. I think, however they killed the person.
I agree, except for... Look at what happened when DNA evidence became more accessible and how many people were wrongly convicted that finally when DNA evidence came out, they were given the opportunity to prove their innocence. This isn't like one person. This is hundreds or thousands of people who committed no crimes behind bars.
DNA did prove a lot of people innocent, but Melissa, you got a lot of criminals out there that did confess, and the way we're putting them to sleep, I think, Melissa, is too humane, in my opinion. And we're going to get to that part of the show if we got enough time.
Can I answer that a little bit here?
Yes, Melissa, now you can't hear my co-host. They can hear you, but you can't hear them. I wish we're working on a way for you to be able to talk to them. But, Melissa, when we get this fixed, will you call back in and have a talk with us, please?
Sure.
Well, Melissa, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for calling in and keep listening. If we get to the part about prisons, I just want you to hear what we got to say about it and listen to what we're saying. And Melissa, I mean, I'm not going to ever treat anybody disrespectful. Everybody's got their right to their own opinion in this country. That's what America is. We all got a right to opinion, Melissa. And I want to thank you for calling in.
Well, thank you so much. I'm enjoying your show. Have a good night.
Thank you, Melissa. Good night.
Hey, Donald, you give me a couple seconds just to, I know she's still listening.
All right, but let's go ahead, make it quick, because I want to tell you guys some more wasteful spending, then we'll get into the prisons. Go ahead, Les.
It's a pretty important subject.
Go ahead.
And she does have a point, and since DNA and all that has come along, and I have always said that for the ones that we know for a fact that have committed murders,
The ones that
rapes,
confess.
heinous crimes,
The confessed ones.
they should be put to death immediately, if not sooner. But now the difference, and I know the history of time, our death penalty has caught up some innocent people, yes. But here's the difference between the death penalty and abortion is every one of those little babies are innocent. None of them deserves the sentence they get with abortion.
Well, they don't have a right to a trial, Les and Dave.
Right.
An abortion is totally different to me because a criminal, when they go to prison, at least they have a right to a trial. That mother is not giving that baby a right to a trial, especially those daggone, what do you call them, Dave? Them partial birth abortions. They don't have a right to a trial. Go ahead, Dave.
Donald, I think the biggest thing is you have to remember that a criminal had the choice to commit that crime or not. Now, granted, like Les said earlier, there's probably a lot of innocent people that are dead that did get put to death. But if you look at the numbers, we're talking millions of babies versus thousands, and I know every life is precious. But that criminal had the choice. He had the choice to pull the trigger. He had the choice to rob or rape or whatever it was he done to put him in that situation.
Dave, they've committed heinous. Some of these people have literally raped women, cut their heads off. I mean, I hate to be rude on here and crude, but there's people out here, these gang members, they have committed some of the most heinous crimes, and just to put them on a table, put them to sleep, then pump potassium in them and stop their heart, I think that death is too easy for them. I think the crime should fit. The punishment should fit the crime. If you are put on death row without a reasonable doubt, all DNA and everything's been checked, and you're for sure that you've done that crime, I think they ought to be worse than putting you to sleep, brother. I think they're getting off too easy.
Especially go Old Testament on
hey,
them.
Well, all right, well, sure. Now listen, these guys that get put on death row, the ones we know that are guilty, they get to spend 25, 30 years before we even put them to sleep. Talk about wasteful spending, you guys. Now listen, we were talking about spending and wasteful spending. Obama, they're getting ready to build his presidential library in Chicago, you guys. And I know that's privately funded. But on Friday, the city officials of Washington said, Chicago said, how much the taxpayers will pay for road work and other construction around that library. You guys, that's $175 million. I think the city of Chicago could use that money elsewhere. And I'll tell you guys some more wasteful spending in this country. I was reading this article. I don't know when did I read this article? It was a few days ago. It says the U.S. taxpayers are paying $18.5 billion for illegal alien health care. Now tell me about wasteful spending. There's so much wasteful spending going on in this country. It's just, like Dave says, you can't stop it. It's just too much.
You just stop the bleeding wherever you can, Donald. There's plenty of it. Them roads probably need repaired anyway, all that stuff in Chicago, but it would have never been done if it wasn't for that Obama library, more than likely.
$175 million, Les?
Yeah, but I mean, it's wasteful. They're wasting it, but I'm just curious of how much of it needs to be done that they've been neglecting because the liberals been wasting the money. And then when you talk about the illegals and health care, brother, they fill these emergency rooms up. It's against the law for anybody to be denied treatment in an emergency room. And these illegals use these emergency rooms for doctors' offices. That and food stamps and you name it. And that's and the crime that the illegals cost our legal system, and every one of them gets court-appointed lawyers. I mean, brother, it's a whole sack full of stuff that illegals cost the American people.
It's all you, Dave. It's all you, brother.
It really is. I mean, and if you go back to the Obama library, I mean, traditionally every president has had their library, but $175 million, really? That's
just for road construction around
Yeah.
the library, Dave. The library itself, they said, is privately funded. Now, I
Right.
don't know where they get that money. I guess he raises that through his speeches and book sales, but
donations probably, Soros and the rest of his cronies. But I mean, for us to have to fund $175 million for road improvements, Chicago has an infrastructure. They've got a state budget. I mean, it's not like Illinois doesn't have a budget for Chicago to fix their infrastructure with. Why does the taxpayer have to fund that? Then you talk about the illegals. Brother, this is something that's near and dear to my heart, because to me, they're homeless veterans.
let's have it, brother. Let's have it, Dave.
They're homeless veterans on the street. They're homeless veterans that are waiting in line at a VA that are dying to get health care. And you want to let an illegal walk in somewhere and give them health care over a veteran that served this country, that made it for us to be free? And you want to say, oh, well, everybody's got a right to health care, but wait, this veteran's trying to do it the right way, and you're putting him on a friggin' waiting list, and he's dying in the process, and you're curtailing to an illegal that shouldn't even be here in the first place.
Well, what about what Melissa said though? About these death row inmates, Dave. They're giving them housing, Dave, in these prisons. They're feeding them 3 times a day, Dave. They're clothing them. They put a roof over their head. They get to buy snacks, and some of them even got TVs in their cells, Dave. Talk about a waste of taxpayer money. These people are in prison living it up, and homeless veterans are on the street suffering. Why is people in prison living better than homeless veterans?
Well,
I don't get it.
It's a shame, but I mean, I understand part of that process, because if you've been sentenced to death, you don't want to take the time to just be nonchalant about a person's life. So, I mean, should it take 30 years? Absolutely not. You should be able to go through the process a lot faster than that, 20 years, because number one, the family of the victim does not need to suffer that long.
Absolutely, brother. Amen to that.
Well, let me tell you something. Yeah, let me tell you something, Donald, what I was thinking about earlier today. And you used to have bean farms, used to have dairy farms, used to have chain gangs. These people, they would earn their keep in these prisons, and they called it slave labor. Everybody started getting soft and all mushy and gooey over it.
Chain gangs, brother.
Me off. Brother, let me tell you something. Dave Coots right now is out there driving a truck, sitting at a truck stop doing this radio station. That man's earning his keep. He's doing it the right way. He's doing it the legal way. He's doing it the ethical way. And that's what burns me up. Hey, these prisoners, they ought to have to work, brother, from daylight to dark, picking beans, chunking melons, baling hay, milking cows, plowing the earth, planting for their own
cracking
food,
rocks with sledgehammers like they used to,
and pay for their own keep. I'm sick and tired of them just laying around and getting their weight rooms, getting their colored television, becoming lawyers. They become lawyers in these libraries and spend the rest of their life suing the dadgone penal system. I'm sick and tired of everybody being soft on these dang career criminals.
Dave, do you want to rebut on that or say anything about what Lester said?
Well, I mean, he's right. You don't have to look no further than what Lebanon Correctional Institute by our house. They used to have prisoners out there working that farm. I don't even think
see them no more, do you?
They don't do it anymore. They stopped doing it. So they were sustaining part of their food that way. So now what happens is they're not working it. So we have to pay for it.
You're right, Dave. They did have a farm over there, and they had their own cattle. They don't have that no more. The only people I see out here working, they're prisoners. I got to tell you guys the truth, and the country should know this. The sheriff is Sheriff Richard Jones. I see Butler County. They've always got inmates out here picking up trash or whatever, but they all need to be out here working and helping this country instead of sitting there on their butt, like Les said, working out and watching TV and eating Cheetos or Little Debbie cakes from the commissary. It burns me up, you guys. It does.
Hey, Dave, Donald, I tell you what. Here's the deal. That's a breath of fresh air for them. They enjoy getting out, picking up that paper and walking out through there. They get to get a little sunshine. They get to get a little fresh air. But, brother, I tell you what, put a frickin' sledgehammer in their hand, make them bust rocks, whatever. I don't care. Hey, we as free Americans out here, law-abiding citizens, we have to slave to make our living and to pay our bills. So if what they're doing is slave labor, then what we're doing is slave labor. What's the difference? We're both earning our keep. Put them suckers to work.
It's a shame.
It is a shame, and I'll tell you guys something else. You know, they get free health care. It's handed to them.
Oh, God, you brought up a good subject, Dave. Thank you.
Under Obamacare, I'm self-employed. My health care my premiums quadrupled.
Well, Dave, I'm going to tell you something really quick. This is personal, too. I had cancer. You know that, Dave, right? I think everybody knows that by now. The radiation burnt my teeth out. And, you know, if I was in prison right now, they would get me a new set of teeth. And right now, I have to pay for that myself. I don't have the money for teeth, Dave. I would love to have teeth. But prisoners, they even get teeth, Dave. They get dental work done for free. It's just not right, Dave. And you know who's paying for it, brother? People like you right now, Dave. You're paying for their teeth. You're paying for their food. You're paying for everything, brother. People like you, Dave, the working man.
Well, I mean, you know, the government mandated health care, but then when your premium quadruples and you can't afford it, then they fine you. I mean, I thank God Trump got rid of that, but it just pisses me off when they do stupid stuff like that, and then realizing we've got vets dying because they're waiting to get into the VA, and then you've got illegals and criminals that are getting better care than what we're giving our people that fought for this country, our elderly, our children. I mean, we have to learn to prioritize as a society and stop being so politically correct that we're worried about pissing everybody off.
It is. It's the culture, brother. It's the culture, Dave. And not only that, Dave, I could just imagine these poor veterans that fought for this country, gave everything they had. Maybe they could have died over there. And just think about the winter nights, these cold winter nights. How many veterans have got frostbitten? While these prisoners that have killed people, that are sitting in prison in a nice warm cell. Think about it, you guys. It's horrible the way our veterans are being treated. Not all veterans are homeless, but there is a lot of homeless ones out there. And I hate that excuse that the liberals use. Well, they're junkies and it's their fault. No, sometimes you can get caught up, Dave and Les, and circumstances happen. But let's help these veterans get off drugs. Let's stop. You know,
Donald, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I mean,
go ahead.
What they forget, you know, is they'll do that, but then someone. What's a bad epidemic around us, and not just around us, but around our whole country, is like the heroin epidemic. Now, they'll call them a junkie or something, but they look for ways to belittle it. But let's talk about, too, part of the veteran thing is 22 veterans a day commit suicide. 22 a day, guys.
Do you ever hear that on the news, Les? You ever hear that on the news?
Well,
I don't ever hear about it.
Yeah, no, you don't hear about it. They're just swept under the rug. You know, it's a tragedy to anybody that joins the service. I don't care if it's two years or 20 years. You take that particular part of your life and you give up your life. You make a conscious decision to go and join the military, put your life on hold,
and you ain't getting rich from it. You ain't getting rich from it neither. Like Dave said one time, he didn't even care about the pay, Les. He did it for his country.
You know, in a lot of cases, most cases, it ain't about that. You don't make that much money joining the military. It ain't about that.
Right.
You know my story. I couldn't find a job. That's why I went in the service. I had a pregnant wife. I couldn't find a job. It provided me and my family with a way of living, but I wasn't my own, brother. It wasn't like I could get PO'd and walk off the job.
Right,
I couldn't just throw my hands up and quit and go get another job. I took that 3 years, 1 month, and 14 days out of my life and give to my country without selfishness. I done it out of my own free will, brother. And combat vets like Dave, when you go into combat and you survive combat, and you come home to die on a cold, lonely street. No, brother, that's an abomination right there.
Bring tears to my eyes thinking about it, Les. And I'm not trying to belittle Melissa, whoever called in. Melissa from Ohio, if you're listening. I'm not trying to. Everybody, like I said, everybody's got their own opinion. And you know, I was nice to Melissa, and I'll always be nice to anybody. But you know, I gotta disagree sometimes. You guys, we have to disagree. We don't. We're not all yes men.
Well,
we have to.
I think Melissa made a valid point. You know,
yes, she did. Yeah.
You know, how can you be against abortion but for the death penalty? And I think we done what we could to address that. You know, is they made a choice to commit the crime.
Well, and they are innocent people. Like I said, she had a very valid point. I want to thank her for calling in. And I think she's big enough to handle our disagreement about different things.
For sure. And you guys, we are Les, Dave, you go, Dave, and we've got some other girl working on this right now. We're trying to get it right now, Les. When the callers call in, you guys will be able to interact with these callers, and that's what I want. I want you guys to be able to interact. And these callers, we're going to start getting more calls, and I want to get more calls, you guys. But did you guys happen to listen to Trump's speech at CPAC, the CPAC speech?
Yes, and I re-listened to it again today.
You guys know he put harsher sanctions on North Korea, right? And the Russians and Chinese, they're not very happy about this, you guys.
Well, that's just too freaking bad.
Well,
yeah, I mean, we've been here's the thing, is there's too many past administrations have been too lenient on North Korea and put us in the situation that we're in right now.
Yeah,
well, and I've said it before, you guys, on this show, probably 10 times, that Trump did not create this nuclear North Korea. Our past presidents did, the spineless presidents. They're dealing with a whole different guy right now. And you guys, in that speech in CPAC, he even made fun of his own bald spot. Did you guys hear that? I love a guy with a sense of humor. I do. I love humor, you guys. And we've got a stern president. We've got a funny president. And they're calling him now, this Maxine Waters, you guys. Oh, God, I don't even want to mention her name. But she gave a speech, I think, Saturday out in California somewhere. And she's just talking about impeaching our president and calling him mentally ill and all this and that. You guys, there's a lot of people that's got problems with our president. Why do they hate him so much? Why?
Impeach 45! Impeach 45!
Yeah, impeach 45.
Brother, I tell you what, she's demonic. I tell you what, she ain't the only one. That's not JFK Democratic Party anymore, brother. It's been took over by the insane asylum. Them crazy old bats, and I tell you, Schumer, and brother, it's madness. It's freaking madness. That's beyond. I have no word for it, Donald. It drives me crazy. How can you? I don't believe they believe what's coming out of their mouth. I think they're so evilly brilliant that they know they're duping so many of the people, and it just boggles my mind, man.
We got 4 minutes left. It's 8:56. We got another call coming in.
All right,
I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it. Hello. Hello. Who am I speaking with? Something happened. Never mind. But anyway, I don't know. I don't know what's happening to these calls. But anyway, you guys, the State Department said that the new U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem will be open this May. I'm happy about that, you guys.
Praise the Lord.
I'm happy. They did say that the embassy's going to be open this May in Jerusalem.
But like Donald said on our last show, that's our homeland, brother. That's where the kingdom of God in the end.
We got 3 minutes left. So,
it's going to come down into Israel, right there on the mount, and that's our homeland for us Christians. God bless Donald Trump, man. I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Well, and I think what a lot of people are neglecting to realize is this wasn't Trump's decision. This was voted on a long time ago, and a lot of administrations didn't have the cojones to do this. This man stood up and said, "You know what? I've got the cojones to do it, and we're moving our embassy to where it was supposed to be in the first place, the capital
Amen,
Israel.
Dave.
Tel
Amen,
Aviv, ain't
brother.
it? Tel Aviv, right? Tel Aviv,
Jerusalem.
right?
Well, it's
Yes.
in Tel Aviv right now.
Wait,
They're gonna move
Jerusalem in Israel. Okay, gotcha.
They're going to move it
Jerusalem's the
to
capital.
Jerusalem.
They're
the
moving
capital.
to Jerusalem, yes.
Well, you guys know that the Democratic FISA memo was released Saturday. You guys, I'm gonna tell you something right now.
That's a joke.
I know we got 2 minutes left, but you guys, I am so sick of hearing about this Russian collusion. I could puke, you guys.
That wasn't nothing but a joke, Donald. That was a FISA joke is what that was.
That's all it is. And we spent what, $60-some million for Mueller to do his investigation? You want to talk about wasteful spending? $60-some million for Mueller to do an investigation for something that the Democrats bringed up to begin with.
Thank you, Robert Mueller. Thank you for wasting our money, Robert Mueller. You're a really good American, Robert Mueller. You're a really good guy. Okay, you guys, I just got a 40-second poke. Let's go ahead and say our goodbyes. This is Donald Whisman. I'm asking everybody to come back next week and listen to our show. All aboard. God bless each and every one of you.
God bless y'all, and thank you for listening. God bless our president.
Hey, guys, I want to thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys tune in next week, and God bless.
And if we...
There ain't no